Shalom, shalom, shalom. All praises to Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahweh Shah, Bahashem, Yikah Yahweh being the name of the Heavenly Father, Yahweh Shah being the name of His only begotten Son, who they ignorantly call Jesus Christ. Now we're gonna get into these the subject of having carnal minds, and when Paul wrote this, he pretty much made it no way around following God's laws. And because you look at what these Christians do and these Jehovah wickedness, they try their best to keep the children of Israel in sin, and they twisting these scriptures up so good where they trying to convince them that the law was just a temporary situation when the scriptures say otherwise. And this is a foundation of how God created things. He didn't give them something temporarily. He didn't give them something for a lesson. See, He gave them something that was the foundation of an eternal situation. Plus, He's going to put these same laws into their minds in the new covenant. So let's get into the video. Fair use, fair use. Let's see here. Let's see. Okay, let's go here.
Realize that there's a verse in the Bible that they feel supports their belief. So let's take our Bibles and turn to Matthew chapter 5, the Sermon on the Mount, from which our text is taken this morning. And perhaps they may point to verses 17 and 18. Now that reads, "Do not think I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy, but to fulfill. Truly, I say to you that sooner would heaven and earth pass away than for one stroke of a letter to pass away from the law until all things take place." Now, this person, in presenting their explanation, may show that they believe this expression fulfilled means established permanently. And even some Bible commentaries say that this involves total commitment. Well, how would you answer a person at that stage? How can we help them? Perhaps you might take them through a series of scriptures, such as Romans chapter 10, verse 4, where it says Christ is the end of the law. You might read Galatians chapter 4, verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released. Or Ephesians 2, verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished. But if you've done that, perhaps you've had the same experience that I have, that a person may agree with those scriptures, but say, that's not referring to the 10 Commandments. That's referring to all the other laws in the Mosaic law arrangement. But the 10 Commandments remain forever. Well, how can you help someone to reason on that matter? Well, let's look back again at Matthew chapter 5. And we notice there in verses 17 and 18, it mentions Jesus came not to destroy, but to fulfill. And we could ask the person how they understand the word fulfill, what they feel that means. And perhaps they might say, established permanently. Well, then we could point out that Jesus continues then to talk about various aspects of the law. If we look at verse 21, what do we notice? You heard that it was said to those of ancient times, you must not murder. So yes, this is one of the 10 Commandments. Interestingly, the Study Bible on a note on this verse says, this phrase, you heard that it was said, can refer both to the things stated in the inspired Hebrew scriptures and to teachings of Jewish tradition. Now we'll see this as we go on. And even some Bible commentaries say, how can we help them? Perhaps you might take them through a series of scriptures, such as Romans chapter 10, verse 4, where it's...
All right, let's go to Romans 10, verse 4. and show how these people don't know what they're talking about. Let's see here. Let me go back here and stop this. Let's switch it up real quick. I'm gonna get the blue letter Bible on this one. Blue letter Bible. All right, Romans. Let's see here. Where is it? Quick navigation. Romans chapter 10, verse 4 says, For MOSIAC is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believeth. Okay, now look at verse 3. It says, For they being ignorant of God's righteousness and going about to establish their own righteousness, have not submitted themselves unto the righteousness of God. For MOSIAC is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believe. Okay, so let's read verse 5. For Moses described the righteousness which is of the law, that the man which do those things shall live by them. Okay, but the righteousness which is of faith speak of this wise, say not in your heart, who shall ascend into heaven, that is to bring a Mashiach down. Okay, so this is talking about that the faith is needed, not just the law. You need faith also. Because see, the law, before faith came, you only had the law for righteousness. But now faith has come. Now you need righteousness and the law. But he's explained this later on in the verse. Or not in the verses, but he explained this later on in his explaining what he's explaining. And he already expressed it in Romans 3. See, he ain't contradicting himself, and he is not what you call it, schizophrenic. Romans 3 and 31. Romans 3 and 31. He says, do we then make void the law through faith? God forbid. Yeah, we establish the law. So these people talking about that the law is ended. They don't know what they're talking about. You see, because Paul wasn't talking about ending any law. Then when you go to chapter 2 and what is it, 13. Paul wasn't schizophrenic, man. It says, for not the hearers of the law are just before God, meaning righteous, but the doers of the law shall be justified. See, the doers of the law, you have to do the law. Now, let's get into this carnal mind situation, because this is what these people do. And Paul was cutting he was cutting them so hard with these scriptures, because see, while they picking certain verses that go along with them, he was setting them up. See, because now you putting confidence in his writings. So when he cut you, you can't go to talking about, oh no, Paul is not he's not authorized and he's not a disciple and all this. Because no, you using all his verses to try to justify yourself in your wickedness. So now that he cut your head off with these verses, well, you ain't gonna have nowhere to run. Because verse 18 is gonna be the deliverance from the bondage. Look at what it say: deliverance from bondage. From what? The bondage of these dragons trying to tell you that God's laws is done away with. Deliverance from an idiot trying to convince you that God's laws is done away with. And you got to focus on something else. See? Now let's get into it. It says the righteousness of the law might be fulfilled in us. This verse 4. Who walk not after the flesh, but after the spirit. So the righteousness of the law is going to be fulfilled after those who walk after the spirit. Okay? It says, for they that are also they that are after the flesh do mind the things of the flesh, but they that are after the spirit, the things of the spirit. Okay, now we're going to get into the cutting part. For to be carnal minded is death, but to be spiritually minded is life and peace. See, because the carnal mind is enmity against God. Let's see what the carnal mind is. For it is not subject to the law of God. So if you thinking that law of God is gone, you obviously don't know what's going on. Law of God. So if you thinking that law of God is gone, Salakia. So when you get into, let's do 7 again and say, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can it be. It says, verse 8. So then, okay, let me blow this up some. Okay, now we get into it. Because this is the point. But these Jehovah wickedness and these Christians can't run because Paul got them. Okay, let's go back to verse Romans 8 and 6. It says, for the carnal mind is death. So you ain't got no way out of there. But to be spiritually minded is life and peace. Because what? That law is going to give you life. You leave that law, you going to get death. And I'm going to pull that up next. It says, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God, neither indeed can be. So then they that are in the flesh cannot please God. So if you're not following that law of God, you can't please God. See, if you saying that he done abolished the law, you ain't under the 10 commandments, plus he playing semantics because he trying to, and he playing some type of hypnosis game where he trying to get your focus on the 10 commandments and not the whole law. So he gonna focus on the 10 commandments and act like the whole law is abolished, and only focus on the 10 commandments to distract your mind on some 10 commandments and not that whole law. Because that whole law is where the Lord is the commanding you to do it. Just like we're gonna get an example after this. I'm gonna give one example after this to show you how these Jehovah wickedness is the devil. Major deceivers. They say in verse 8, so then they cannot please God. Okay, you can't please God because you is just not doing the law. You just ain't even paying no attention to what the law is abolished. Okay, this Romans 8 and 9 and say, but ye are not in the flesh, but in the spirit, if so be that the spirit of God dwell within you. Now, if any man have not the spirit of MOSIAC, he is none of his. So if you ain't got the spirit where you gonna even do that law. Say if Christ be in you, the body is dead because of sin, but the spirit of his life because of righteousness. So that was the cut in verse 7. Say if you, because the carnal mind is enmity against God, for it is not subject to the law of God. They trying to say the law of God is done away with. Okay, so let's get another one where let's let him fall on another verse that he gonna try to spew out of his mouth. Where is it? Let's see here. Let me stop that screen. Present this screen. And let him finish these other verses he gonna try to spew out of his mouth. Now he got the they little straight dragon.
In your would you answer the person at that stage? How can we help them? Perhaps you might take them through a series of scriptures, such as Romans chapter 10, verse 4, where it says Christ is the end of the law. You might read Galatians chapter 4, verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released.
Okay, let's see that. See, because we already know this man is already in error. Okay, real quick. Stop that. Go back to the Blue Letter Bible. He said Romans 4 and 4 and 4 and 5. Okay. No, he said Galatians, Salaki. Okay, so let me get my Blue Letter Bible again. And I should pull up the New World's translation, but I'm gonna stick with the King James. Let's shorten this up to find the verse. Okay. Galatians, he said Galatians 4, verse 4. Mind you, he said the law was ended. It's saying that the law is ended. That's what he's saying. Let's see what the verse say. Okay, Galatians 4 and 4 say, but when, let's let it catch up. Galatians 4 and 4 say, but when the fullness of the time was come, God sent forth his son, made of a woman, made under the law, to redeem them that were under the law, that we might receive the adoptions of sons. Where in here did it say that the law is done away with and you ain't got to do the Mosaic law? It just said to redeem those that was under the law so they can be adopted in as sons of God. See, this is what these Christians and Jehovah Witnesses do. They just tell you of something and think you're supposed to run with it when they saying a bold-faced lie. Those verses was not talking about doing away with the Mosaic law, doing away with God's law, which he wrote with his finger. See, what was written with the finger of the Lord. But this is the stuff that they do, man. Let's let him finish.
Or Ephesians 2 verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished. But if you've done that, read Galatians chapter 4 verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released.
See, don't
Or
say nothing
Ephesians
about
2 verse
being
15,
released.
where it speaks of the law being abolished. Read
praise
Galatians
God.
chapter 4 verses 4, Galatians chapter 4 verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released. Or
Bold face
Ephesians
lie.
2 verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished.
Now this man just said out of his mouth that the law, that these people was released from the law. They say they was redeemed. Let's put it on the comment board, man. This is just amazing, and it show you how these people. Let me put this on the comment board. 4 and 5. Galatians 4, 4 and 5. He said that they was released from the law.
But if you've done that, perhaps you've had the same experience that I have, that a person, 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released. Or Ephesians 2 verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished.
Let's get
But
that.
if you've done that,
Hold on, let me
perhaps
go back.
you've had the same experience, chapter 4 verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released. Or Ephesians 2 verse 15, where it speaks, chapter 4 verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released. Or Ephesians 2 verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished.
Ephesians 2 and 15. Now I'm thinking he was talking about Colossians. He said Ephesians. I just knew he was talking about Colossians. This man said Ephesians. All right, let's go get this blue letter Bible. Let's get this blue letter Bible. And look up this Ephesians. Ephesians 2:15. Ephesians 2:15. This man said that the law okay. Now look at 14, because this is probably what he's talking about. It say this Ephesians 2 and 14. Make sure I blow this up all the way. It can be seen clearly on the screen. Okay, he said, for he is our peace, who have made both one and have broken down the middle wall of perdition between us. And to give the quick understanding, this is talking about the northern kingdom and the southern kingdom, or and the 3 tribes, Judah, Benjamin, and Levi, and the 10 tribes, or the Israelites that was having the faith of keeping the law. And now Jehovah is bringing all of them together with those who wasn't keeping the law, and he letting them know, now you both is Israelites, or all of y'all are Israelites, and all of y'all got to keep the law and have faith in Jehovah. But let's listen to what this next verse say. He said, having abolished in his flesh the enmity, even the law of commandments contained in ordinances, for to make in himself a twin, one new man, so making peace. Okay. it says that he might reconcile both unto God in one body by the cross, having slain the enmity thereby, and came and preached to you which were afar off, and to them that were near. Okay, hold on. Which were near, it says, for through him we both, see, talking to a group, two groups of people now, we both have access by one Spirit unto the Father. See, it says, now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners. Okay, see, now they're not strangers. Now that they know, these, especially the 10 tribes, because mainly he's talking to the ones that were living in Ephesians or Ephesus, and they wasn't living in Jerusalem. They were living in Ephesus, and they was being commanded from the Greeks that you got to be a Greek. And we hear you talking about you an Israelite, just like what they did down there in Louisiana and in Haiti. If we hear that you talking about you an Israelite, you finna get put to death, or we finna kick you up out of our colony. But if you're a slave, you probably gonna get put to death. What is it? Let's see here. He said, now therefore ye are no more strangers and foreigners, but fellow citizens with the saints and of the household of God. So he telling them, now you all are one. Okay. Built together for habitation of God through the Spirit. Framed together groweth unto the holy temple of the Lord. Okay. So this is what he talking about. He wasn't even talking about what this man, he just done grabbed a verse out of a conversation about the Israelites, the lost tribes, and the 3 tribes coming back together, because the northern kingdom was banished, and they didn't deal with the northern kingdom, and anybody who wasn't an Israelite keeping the law, they wasn't dealing with them. So you have to keep that law, or they're going to claim that, like Jehovah said, they're going to treat you like a heathen man. They're going to treat you like a Gentile. So he's saying he done abolished that, what was keeping them away from each other. Now it's about faith in Jehovah. It's not about the law, which was treating them like a heathen man. Now it says, and Colossians give a better understanding of the situation, because he's using the same terminology that he used in Colossians. That's why I thought he was going, but let me get it while I'm here, and then we're gonna get into this law. Okay, Colossians 2. Colossians 2. Colossians 2. There we go. He said almost the same exact thing. Let me blow it up. Now, I'm going to start with 13. He said, and you, let it catch up. Said, and you being dead in your sins and the uncircumcision of your flesh, have he quickened together with him, having forgiven you all trespasses, blotting out. So this is what it's about. Forgiving them the trespasses that they done been trespassing. See, it's not talking about the future. It's talking about the stuff that they done did already. Say blotting out the handwriting of ordinances that was against us. It says, which was contrary to us, and took it out of the way, nailing it to the cross. The stuff that we done did, he done got rid of that. See, because all of these Colossians was people told that if you say you're Israelite, we gonna kill your behind. See, this is what the Greeks was telling them, the Edomites, because it wasn't no Greeks or Roman. That's just some name that they stole from the Japhites. It says, the Edomites is what told them that we're gonna kill you if you try to keep that law. And they're doing the same thing today by pushing this Christianity on them. But it says, verse 15, it says, and having spoiled principalities and powers. See, because this is what the principalities and powers, mean the governments of the Edomites, is trying to push on them. He's all the break God's laws and the trespass against God's law. So he's spoiling that. He's destroying that, what they was coming with. He said he made a show of them openly, triumphing over them in it. So he was getting rid of all of those trespasses and telling them, you ain't got to worry about what these people had y'all doing. Had you eating nasty, filthy pigs, had you eating shrimp, crab, lobster. See, having you doing all kind of abomination. See, having you disrespecting God's law. See, not even paying that no attention. Disassociating yourself away from the holy days, away from certain thing that you had to do for the Lord, like the Sabbath days, the new moon. You see, he was saying, don't let these people mess with you now, because now you know you're an Israelite, and now you know what you got to do. And Jehovah shot the stuff when you was messing up and you was acting like a heathen, he done nailed all that crap on the cross when he died. He says, verse 2 and 17. He says, which are a shadow of things to come, but the body is of a MOSIAC. What's the shadow of things to come? Because guess what? The thing that's going to come is that this law is going to be within your inward parts. See, if the law was something just temporary, why is he putting it into our minds now? Why is he going to put this stuff in our mind? But now I wanted to dig into that first scripture he brought in when he was trying to say that the law is done of the righteousness. What was it? Romans. Let's go back to refresh the situation. Let's shorten this up. Romans 10. They say he was the end of the law of right. Now, verse 3 let you know what it's all about. Say, for they been ignorant of God's righteousness. See, those heathens or Gentiles that was Israelites, because they was living like the heathen, they was in the land of their captivity under the Greeks. They didn't know about God's righteousness. And then they went to establish their own righteousness, because they weren't under God's righteousness. They done just said, this is what we feel that's righteous. Okay. And Yahushua, he said, for Christ is the end of the law for righteousness to everyone that believes. So Yahushua finna give you the real righteousness. But look at the righteousness of God. See, this is what people ain't understanding. And you can't do away with this law. That's why Apostle Paul is not a schizophrenic. And he showed how you can't do away with that law. Look at what this law talks about. Deuteronomy 22 and 5. it says, let's blow this up. Deuteronomy 22:5, it says, the woman shall not wear that which pertain unto a man, neither shall a man put on a woman's garment, for all that do so are an abomination unto the Lord your God. So this law is not done away with. This law is not abolished. This law is an everlasting situation between a man and a woman. A man supposed to wear a man's garment, and a woman supposed to wear a woman's garment. See, this is what is supposed to go down. This is the law. Jehovah shall not come to do away with none of this. This is an everlasting situation. This is an everlasting righteousness of the Lord. You can't come and say, oh, he don't care about none of that, and you can dress how you want to dress. We under the so-called devil now, and he gonna tell us what to do. He gonna let our women walk around butt naked on the beach and in the grocery store, in the mall. She can walk around butt naked anywhere she want to walk around. She can wear tight pants showing her vagina and a butt crack. See, she can do all of this stuff, and this is not abomination to the Lord. See, she can come up in the church with a breast hanging out. See, half of her breast hanging out, just only showing not showing the nipple, and she still is a righteous woman, and she ain't abomination to the Lord. See, this is what these devils is pushing. Talking about God's law is done away with. This is why we call them Jehovah wickedness, and this is why we call the Christianity crack cocaine. See, because you got to be a fool to think God did away with his law and think he was schizophrenic. He didn't know what he was telling. He didn't know what he was writing on the stone. When he wrote all of those commandments on them stone for Moses to give to the children of Israel, he didn't know what he was doing. He was schizophrenic. He didn't know everything was going to switch up. And he didn't know he was going to send his folks into slavery and the slave master was going to be over them. See, he ain't know none of this stuff. Psalms, let's get Psalms 119. Psalm 119. Okay. 119. Oh, I passed it. 142. See, does this say that God righteousness was going to come to an end when Jehovah died on the cross? Let's see if God is a liar. Is he a bold-faced liar? I doubt it. It says, your righteousness is an everlasting righteousness, and your law is the truth. See, you got to serve the Lord with spirit and truth. This is why he said the person that's living unto their flesh, they are enmity with God. A carnal-minded person is enmity with God. And they are not under the law. They are not under the laws of God. They're going to just dismiss themselves away from the laws of God. They're not going to pay the laws of God no attention. See, they're going to go by what they feel. They're going to make their own righteousness. See, because if you don't know the law, how you going to follow it? If you don't know the law and you think it's done away with, how you going to know how to love your neighbor? You can't love your neighbor walking through the Walmart butt naked with some drawers on. See, and this is what these, Jehovah wickedness, y'all ain't got nothing. You can't twist the scriptures thinking you're going to outdo the Lord. You're not going to do it, man. But let me, I want to post that Psalms. It's Psalm 119, 142. Because they trying to do away talking about he done abolished the law. You got to be crazy, man. The Lord will never abolish this law because he said it's an everlasting righteousness. That's why Apostle Paul said that the law is just. The law is righteous. And it is good. That's why And then in their on the website, it got that God wrote the law was consisting of over 600 some laws, and King David said God's law is perfect. So how in the world is you gonna get to a point where you thinking that Jehovah is gonna do away with the law? They playing semantics, and only a fool would believe these people. The Lord got to totally blind anybody who following these Jehovah wickedness. Now this King David is just one verse that's going against what he talking about Yahweh Shah was going to do away with that law. Okay, now we're going to go into the Apocrypha. Let's see here. Now this, what's the name, don't have the Apocrypha, so I got to go out of him and pull that up because I want that to be on the screen. Let's see here. Share. So because these people are carnal minded. Carnal minds think that God gonna do away with his law. Yeah, carnal mind thinks a mess like that, but it'll never happen. It'll never happen. All right, let's get this Baruch. This Baruch 4:1. Let's blow it up. Okay, it says, this is the book of the commandments of God and the law that endure forever. All they that keep it shall come to life, but such as leave it shall die. Okay, so when you go into where he cut the head off with this carnal mind. See, when he broke it down to the carnal mind and having a spiritual mind, which meaning you gonna keep the law. Now let me go get the verse. I think it's in Corinthians. I think it's in Corinthians where it says the law is spiritual. Well, let's just put it in here and see if they pull it up for us. Romans 7. Look at why he's saying that this carnal mind, I don't know why what kind of it's the 16:11, that's why the wording's so messed up. But anyway, it says, for we know that the law is spiritual, but I am carnal, sold under sin. So this law of God is spiritual. This is when you is spiritually minded, when you following the law. See, he made everything to circle back around to that law because he set a foundation, just like with the the laws that he put in the atmosphere, and with the his what you call it, creation. This is what Apostle Paul talked about in Romans chapter 1. Let's get to cause see he just destroyed every Christian that you can think of, man. Because these people, let me go to my blue letter Bible because I want to get into this King James. Let me switch it to my blue letter Bible. Okay, let's switch it to the blue letter Bible and get this Romans. Because Apostle Paul really dropped some bombs on these Christians talking about God's law is gonna be done away with. You ain't got to do God's law. Look at Romans chapter 1, verse 20, I think that's what it is. 1 and okay, it says, blow it up all the way. It says, for the visible things of him from the creation of the world are clearly seen, being understood by the things that are made, even his eternal power and Godhead, so that they are without excuse. So there's no excuse to think God done set this world up spontaneously and ain't thought this thing out and set a foundation. See, he set a foundation for his creation, and that law is the foundation. And I'm gonna get into why they done went away from it. But look at verse 25. It says, because this is what these Edomites and these Christian church who they done created. This is what they doing. It say, who changed the truth of God into a lie. See, they changed the law because in Psalms 119 and 142, it says that the law is the truth, and it's the righteousness of God. It's the everlasting righteousness of God, and that law is the truth. So they changed the law. See, the law of God. See, that's why you just switch those. The law and the truth go hand in hand. Who changed the truth of God into a lie. See, and worship and serve the creature more than the creator. See, they serve the so-called white man who started a Christian church telling you that the law is done away with. See, his word is over the words of God. See, when Apostle Paul said the carnal mind is not subject to the laws of God. The carnal-minded people, they don't care about no law of God. They want to create their own law and just say, oh, God, we got to love God and love our neighbor. What does that mean? How do you do these things? How do you show love to God and your neighbor? You keep the law. See, that's why he said you can't worship God but through spirit and truth. Now, when you go into, let's see, let's get some more on this law. Because these people are so carnal-minded. Let's get Romans, I think it's 7 and 1. It says, oh, let me blow it up. Romans 7 and 1. It says, know ye not, brethren, for I speak to them that know the law, how that the law have dominion, meaning rulership or power over a man as long as he live. See, you gonna have to follow that law as long as your two eyes is open. You gonna have to follow that law. And when your eyes close and when they wake back up, guess what? The Israelites gonna be standing over you saying, you got to keep this law. Because he gonna put the law into their hearts, into their mind. So, and they gonna be ruling over the nation. So you ain't gonna be able to get away from that law. You ain't gonna be walking around with your naked behind showing. It's not gonna happen. You're not gonna be eating a bat suit and a freaking rat or possum or a coon. So you're not gonna be eating these nasty, filthy animals. Shrimp, sucking up shrimp, like eating a bunch of roaches and crabs. You're not gonna be doing these things, man. Because God's law is gonna stand. Not gonna be no, you can just pray over it. So okay, we gonna find out who this prayer is for and is to. See, you praying to the so-called white man. That's what you doing. He said, you worshiping the creature. That's who you worshiping. Because God's law ain't told you to do it. Only the creature told you, oh, you know, he done away with all of those laws. See, your slave master told you that mess. I think it's Timothy. Timothy talked about this thing. I'm thinking. Let me make sure. Yeah, there we go. 1 Timothy chapter 1 and 8. Well, even 7. 1 Timothy 1, chapter 1, verse 7 say, designed to be teachers of the law, understand neither what they say, nor whereof they affirm, but we know that the law is good, if a man use it lawfully. Okay, go that all the way up. Say, knowing this, that the law is not made for a righteous man. See, because he already following the law. But for the lawless and disobedient. See, a Christian. This is who the law is made. People talking about they don't need the law. They lawless. They just got to quote a verse about love and they can disrespect all the law. It says, for the ungodly and for the sinners. Just going right back to the law. For unholy and profane. More about people that don't follow the law. For murderers of fathers and murderers of mothers, for manslayer. Because that's what it's going to wind up getting to. It's going to get to the point where the Lord is going to really get you in head over heels when you're not following that law. For whoremongers, a pimp. See, you want to pimp out some women and make some money off of them. It says for them that defile themselves with mankind, for men stealers. See, you want to be a slaver. For liars. The law is to confound these Edomites, these dragons, the slave master. For perjured person, and if there be any other thing that is contrary to sound doctrine. And the sound doctrine is the law, the report that the Moses brought down from the Lord, that the Lord gave to Moses. See, Moses wasn't writing no laws, man. Moses didn't have a pen and a pad, and he was writing down the laws. God was talking to him, telling him to write down some laws of how you think these people need to act. No, the Lord was using his power to write on a stone with his finger. See, he could use a laser, he can use whatever he wanted to use to write on that stone so Moses can take it back to the people. He wasn't just writing no 10 commandments. And the Jehovah Wickedness know it, and these Christians know it. Now, where we at? You got some more on this law. Now, mind you, he went to let's go back to this dragon. Okay, let me go back to my studio. Let's let him fall on his sword a couple more times, and I'll close out. I got to go hit the streets. So they gonna kick me off of the video and start it back over. Come on, video. Come on, video. Him and that terrible smile.
In your ministry, have you ever met someone who strongly believes that we are still under the Ten Commandments? That can happen at times because many people, especially in the southern parts of verse 4, where it says Christ is the end of the law, you might read Galatians chapter 4, verses 4 and 5, where it says those under the law were released, or Ephesians 2, verse 15, where it speaks of the law being abolished. But if you've done that, perhaps you've had the same experience that I have, that a person may agree with those scriptures, but say, that's not referring to the Ten Commandments. That's referring to all the other laws in the Mosaic law arrangement. But the Ten Commandments remain forever. Well, how can you help someone to reason on that matter? Well, let's look back again at Matthew chapter 5. And we notice there in verses 17 and 18, it mentions Jesus came not to destroy, but to fulfill. We could ask the person how they understand the word fulfill, what they feel that means. And perhaps they might.
Now he went to Matthew 5 and he started at 17. And so he only read 17. So he didn't read the other verses. And let's see what this New World Translation. Let's see what that says. See, you got a couple of Negroes on the side, but their focus is on the Edomites. But let's go to Matthew 5, 17. Let's go to the see what they New World Translation. It says, "Do not think I came to destroy the law or the prophets. I came not to destroy but to fulfill. Truly I say to you that sooner would heaven and earth pass away than for one smallest letter or one stroke of a letter to pass away from the law until all take place." Okay, so it still ain't said that anything is going to be done away with. "Whoever therefore break one of these least commandments and teaches others to do so will be called least in relation to the kingdom of the heavens." So it's clearly telling you right here, if you tell somebody that they ain't got to do them commandments, this is Jehovah speaking now. If you tell anybody and teach somebody, which is Jehovah wickedness, is teaching these people and the Christian, teaching them that they ain't got to keep these commandments. See, you is not going to get into the kingdom. And if you do, it's going to be you're going to be a certified slave. And you're going to be very embarrassed that you were participating with this Christian Jehovah wickedness mess. And so Jehovah clearly taught against breaking God's laws, and they tried to make him the scapegoat for their wickedness. Now I want to get that whole chapter really. Okay. Hold on. They chapter only go to 38. Oh, they got an often say. What? Sorry to search. So don't tell me they done took out the end of the chapter. Let's see, let's go to the Bible. I'm trying to go to the Bible and they sending me all around the world. I know they got a Bible on here. Online Bible. Let's just type it in because good gracious. They trying to hide the Bible? Matthew 5:48. Okay, you must accordingly be perfect. Okay, as your Father in heaven is perfect. And they say that law. Well, let's get what they quoted from their own mouth of their website. That King David said that law was perfect. So if your father is perfect and he created a perfect law, you're supposed to keep that law. What was it? Psalms 19 and 7. It's from their own website. So you see how hypocritical these people are. It says the law of Jehovah is perfect, restoring strength. The reminder, see, and then they just stole the whole verse because it said converting the soul. Restoring strength is not converting the soul. So this is what they always do. They take out of the prophecies, because that's a prophecy. It's gonna convert the Israelites back into their their mind that they had before they lost their identity. It say the reminder of Yahweh is trustworthy, making the inexperienced one wise. So this is the wickedness of these Edomites, man. You go into their Christian church and you will be destroyed. And just like the scriptures say, you will have a carnal mind messing with these Christians and these Jehovah wickedness. Your mind will totally be carnal, and you will be worshiping the creature more than the creator. Now, I'm gonna leave it there. I gotta hit the count because these people, they need to be exposed. But yeah, I'm gonna leave it there. All praise to Yahweh, Hashem, Yahweh, Shah, Hashem, Kakadash. The honor to the elders pushing the truth, peace of the elect worldwide, the blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, descendants of slaves scattered around the globe on slave ships and through many captivities. Our kingdom is at hand. Shalom.